Hello, everyone, and welcome again to this heroic episode about My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which is a manga we covered before, although not finished. But this is not mainly about, or should I say, focusing on the manga. This is about the first episode of the anime adaptation. And joining me is Mike Thomas back in action. How's it going, bro?
It's been a long time, Isaac, since we've been here talking anime. It's been just as long, probably talking My Hero Academia, Vigilantes. I think we haven't talked about this series in like a year and a half, 2 years. But we got an anime. I'm excited to talk about it. I have thoughts, so many thoughts. Can't wait to get into it.
I have noticed that when we talked about it in the group chat and all that, yes. Considering there was one specific detail that bugged you.
It's not that it
I
it's not that it bugged me, but again, as the resident My Hero Academia lore horror, that's my job. We broke the timeline in episode 1. That's just kind of a problem. Like, I'll get over it, but we'll talk about it. We'll get
okay.
there.
But yes, as you heard, it's about My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which is a spin-off prequel following three special individual, to say the least, and one of them, they didn't really call him basically Peter Parker.
Yeah,
More Peter Parker than what Deco is, all
yeah,
things considered.
yeah. My Hero Academia Vigilantes is the street level side of the MHA universe, and I just think that is a very unique take. Right, we have the proper series, My Hero Academia. And that series is inspired by Marvel and DC Comics extremely heavily. Um, but as Deku gets into UA and he starts living in the dorms and he becomes, the greatest hero of all time, as you'll see in this upcoming season in October, we kind of move away from the everyday life of a normal person in that world, and they kind of like elevate into like that X-Men, like Superman status of like, hey, we're kind of detached from this side of the world. This is way more Spider-Man. This is way more Daredevil in Vigilantes. And so Koichi, being like that 19-year-old broke college student who's trying to figure out his life, plays very differently from Deku, who, once he meets All Might at 14, wants to become a hero, and he gets that opportunity at UA. So I think it's a very interesting spin on the story.
Yeah, and as was said, it's at a more street level. Instead of Deku, we are following Koichi. How do you pronounce that name? Koichi Haimavari?
We're just gonna say nice guy for now.
A nice guy. That sounds like a lot of it. Who is it college? He's going. Is it a high school?
He's 19, so he's going to college now. Pop Step is still in high school,
and he wants to be a superhero, but due to his quirk, he didn't really, dare I say, being able to join in as other people were. But
yeah,
he is using his gliding quirk for the sake of trying to do some nice guy stuff, be it throw away garbage, helping people move properly over the street, all that, yes. And then
he's not taking on like the criminal underworld. He's just like helping ladies cross the street and like picking up trash. And I appreciate that he's like, hey, I still can do good in the world, even though I can't be a hero. And I think that line of thinking automatically makes him more mature than Izuku was at the start of MHA, because Deku's life was crumbling when he was told he couldn't be a hero, and he did not know what to do with himself. Koichi at least feels like he's somewhat adjusted and like he's functioning in society. He didn't cripple him like he did 14-year-old Midoriya.
Yeah, but then again, he's also a couple of years older than him.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, that's definitely just a maturity thing of like, he is an adult. Deku was a child. He wasn't even in high school yet.
Yeah, and then he. Should you say that his life is put upside down when he basically meets a family-friendly version of the Punisher. I mean, shouldn't you call Knuckle Duster that? You're muted, Mike.
Yep, there we are. It's good to be back. Knuckle Duster is very much inspired by yeah, the Punisher, but also Batman, characters like Wildcat, and it's like he's this grizzled old veteran who wants to come in and clean up the streets of Japan, even though he doesn't have a license. And he's he's looking for an apprentice. In a weird way, you could say he's looking for his Robin, right?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to take Trigger off the streets. And then for those who don't remember, we were introduced to this quirk enhancing drug Trigger in season 5, the overall arc. I'm pretty sure season 4 or season 5 of My Hero Academia. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it's that quirk enhancing drug. And so he's trying to track that down. And he's trying to stop it from spreading because if it spreads, it's going to be a major problem. Clearly, we know that they're not that effective of stopping it from spreading, if you say in My Hero Academia, but, noble efforts.
Noble efforts indeed, but in this universe, it's always chaos,
Do we
to
want to
say the
talk
least.
about the timeline of events right quick for Vigilantes, for folks who don't know?
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so My Hero Academia Vigilantes takes place about 3 to 4 years, give or take, before My Hero Academia. So, yeah, All Might, who we've seen in the show. By the way, how do you feel about the art style in this series, Isaac? It's different from My Hero
Yeah,
Academia.
I was actually thinking about asking you about that when you were finished with the timeline stuff. So let's
Well,
focus on that part first.
okay. Well, timeline of events for about 3 to 4 years before MHA. This is where a couple of my issues come in. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen right quick because we
It's
get
okay.
we get a scene. I had to be real careful because I'm on X.com, and that just is going to be a problem. But I think we were good. So Koichi's nice guy is here helping Inko Midoriya, right? Deku's mom.
Yeah.
This is how Deku's mom looks in episode 1 of the series when Deku's like 4 or 5 years old. This is how she looks in the manga because this is how she looks in present day My Hero Academia. So timeline is now weird in the anime because now the show is telling us that this series is taking place 10 years before the events of MHA, and the manga was only like
I will.
3 years before MHA. It's
I
weird.
will
It's a small
admit.
thing, but it's weird.
I will admit that was such a blink and you missed moment that I didn't even think about that. If
Yeah,
I
because like,
being complete,
good. Sorry.
I would say go on. Go on.
No, yeah, but it's like, we know what Inko's character design has changed to signify the passage of time. So like she's a little shorter, she's gained a little more weight, to signal that Deku has grown up. He's now a teenager. So the idea that they're using her original character design, which is strange to me because again, she has only looked like that in like 2 episodes of the show. For them to use that specific character model is just strange. And it kind of breaks down the timeline of events because that means Aizawa's way younger. That means All Might is actually in his prime and not injured by All for One, most likely. Like it just Mirko shouldn't be around being a hero yet. It kind of just breaks everything down a little bit. So it's something that we're gonna ignore. I think it's just an animation error. They just pulled the wrong design from this random cameo of Deku's mom. But if we did want to take it as face value, anime Vigilantes takes place almost a full decade before My Hero Academia compared to uh, the manga. But that's just the nerdy thing and the timeline of events there. I want to talk about the art style though because I think that's important. So we can move on to that though.
One of the things that made me feel like this one stood out the most is the fact that they used this word comic book sound effects.
Yeah, the onomatopoeias.
And the only time I have seen that outside of this is actually Dragon Ball Super Superhero. So, which is kind of funny because they wanted to get that superhero feel. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but maybe you've seen some clips and all, and that's where they have the new robots in it. When they
Yeah,
attack, there is automatic. You will know what I mean. I lost the words, but
yeah. The
and it's
automatopoeia is like the Batman 66 boom pows types of sound effects on the screen. Yeah, for sure. Um, My Hero Academia started doing that in like season 5, no, season 6. So these last 2 seasons of the show, they started adding that a
I
bit
missed
more.
that then.
Yeah, like so when Deku is fighting Shigaraki for like this last 10 episodes, he goes smash, and then you see the words smash and like big bold letters on the screen. But this is taking it way further, where just like random moments, like you see Slide when he's using Slide and Go, his quirk. So I love that. It adds a lot more personality. I kind of wish the earlier seasons of MHA did that, because it is a comic book, and even from the intro of this show, it's very like comic book panels, and you're seeing like references to like different shots, like Batman poses from Knuckle Duster, and then you see like the classic Spider-Man shot of like Koichi in his mask, and then his civilian look. So I love that they're embracing that. It's adding a bunch of aura to this show that I didn't expect it to have. Also, it takes place at night, so that dang blue sky is not haunting us. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but haven't this anime been rumored for forever? You're muted again, Mike.
I was sipping my water. I wasn't talking yet. Yeah, this anime
Okay.
has been rumored for a very long time. Um, we actually talked about, we did an episode on manga that should get an anime adaptation, and this was one of the ones that I picked. That was like 2 to 3 years ago, roughly, right? Funny
Yeah.
enough, if you guys want to check that episode out, it's here on the channel. But we've had like 3 shows from that from the discussion get anime adaptations. So can we pick them or what?
Yeah, the ones that haven't been picked is my two other picks that I use, but outside of that, they all have got anime.
We're so good. You guys should listen to us way more often. But yeah, the show has been rumored for a while. I find the timing of this interesting, because not to spoil the ending of My Hero Academia, I just feel like they wanted to introduce these characters a little bit sooner to the mainstream audience. But I think they just like they realize that My Hero's ending, and they can probably get like 3, 4 seasons out of Vigilantes just to keep the brand going, while also doing like a couple more movies here and there. So that's cool. But it feels a little late to me, but it's probably the right timeline, because the show MHA ends in October. This will be able to keep going to give people a little bit more afterwards. So that's cool.
How many seasons do you think this show will have based on the amount of in,
Ooh.
in the volumes and all the
Yeah, so
things
Vigilantes was a
considered?
monthly title compared to My Hero Academia, which was a weekly title. And so, as we do when we talk MHA, each episode adapts like 2 to 3 chapters, maybe 4, depending on how action heavy it is. Vigilantes is adapting like 1 chapter an episode. So it's probably going to end up going 3, 4 seasons. If it that depends how many episodes it gets, because I think this season's only 13, right? Like it's not a full 26 like My Hero
I
Academia.
believe so.
Yeah. It might get picked up for more seasons. I know MHA started as a 13 episode season 1, and then season 2 on, it's been like 25 episodes. So if it goes that route, it could probably wrap up in 4. If it's 13 episode seasons, it might take 6 to wrap up.
Yeah.
I wonder how these characters pop to mainstream audiences, because like it's got the stigma of just being a spinoff. It's a My Hero Academia spinoff. Like, will people get bored when My Hero Academia ends later this year and not come back to this? Or will Koichi, Pop Step, and Knuckle Duster be enough to draw people in on their own, and they want to follow their story? That's what I want.
Okay. Now I'll have you spin the wheels a bit and all that. If they are up for the case of doing some mixing with the timeline, and all that jazz. What do you think there is if the chance that they are, how should I put it, doing demon slayer stuff that prolongs the story, maybe jumps in between, maybe sort of like have Deku and Bakugo. They have it gone more than, I can't recall how long the book took place in, but just to get those extra eyes on this anime.
So like do like anime original stories, like a team up mission where you bring in the kids.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
well, again, this is a prequel, so we're gonna have to jump to present day My Hero for that to work, or at least like year earlier My Hero, because Bakugo is currently dead in the My Hero Academia anime. So, um, they can't. I think they can make a movie. I don't know if they should add filler arcs to the show itself, but like they can do like movie 5 can be Vigilantes versus, you know, the class A kids. That'd be cool. It could even be present day, like manga present day. That might be fun. Also worth noting that Horikoshi is writing another one shot for My Hero Academia. And we're also getting another.
Again?
Yes, again, he's writing a one shot for the last like art book or whatever is that's coming out, and we're getting that
You might
one
as well
shot
do a sequel now.
because he wrote 2 more chapters.
I mean, he clearly wants to keep on working with this book. Why not do a sequel at this point?
I would not be opposed to that, but I think it's interesting that we're getting another chapter of My Hero Academia, and we're getting another chapter of My Hero Academia Vigilantes. So I don't know. Maybe we're planting seeds for a crossover. We'll see. I don't think you're wrong in that line of thinking. I don't think the show is going to do that. But I can see Bones and the writers of both books like working together to make a movie happen. Because the My Hero Academia 4th movie, You're Next, was the highest grossing My Hero Academia movie ever. And it's like one of the highest grossing anime movies of all time. So make a 5th one. It's probably on everybody's mind right now.
I mean, My Hero Academia is essentially I know there's a meme of me mentioning it all the time, but it's essentially Bones, my One Piece or Dragon Ball. It's their money maker, so they most likely want to, well, use it as much as possible.
Yeah, they're trying to milk the cow for all it's worth. And luckily it's worked out. Like I don't think there's been a bad My Hero Academia movie. Um and I think the show obviously is really successful. And again, Vigilantes is phenomenal. And I want to kind of get back to that. I love these cast of characters. Like I love uh Nice Guy, our main protagonist in this first episode. Because again, he is different from Deku. Like we're told that 80% of the population has quirks. Izuku narrates the intro of this episode again, which I think is fascinating. It's not how I took the opening of the book, but that's a nice touch. Kind of brings the audience back in with a familiar voice. Um, but I love Koichi being like just the everyman and like I can still do good. And that's what heroes have always been, right? Comic book characters have always been those that come in regardless of what the system says, right? Legal heroes don't exist in comic books generally. So for these guys to be illegals, as they're called in the Japanese translation, I find that so fascinating. Of like, we have pro heroes, but we still have those on the streets fighting the day to day crime, while Hawks and Endeavor are fighting like the Liberation Front and All for One. You have these guys on the street trying to get these drugs and these quirk enhancers to stop these instant villains. I just find that concept fascinating. And the main cast, they're just so quirky and weird that they're kind of endearing. Like the fact that Knuckle Duster and Koichi's relationship, call me master, call me sensei. I just find that funny. So yeah, I'm excited to see this trio. We know where this goes, but I'm excited to see the anime kind of develop that relationship over time.
Yeah. Also, speaking of anime and crossovers, all that, yes. Perfect way to having a cliffhanger for next episode. Maybe they took a note for solo leveling and all that.
I hope not. Solo leveling's getting egregious. um, but yeah, I mean, the future of the show is great. Seeing Eraserhead is really fun. Again, the art style in the show is so different. I don't like how they're drawing All Might in this show. I think we need to see his eyes. Like, I know we don't see his eyes all the time in My Hero Academia, but this character model is just uncanny valley to me. So I think
I can understand that.
we need to touch that up a little bit. But yeah, like the thick comic book line work that they do in this show. It's like you were saying before, it's really embracing that comic book aesthetic that My Hero Academia didn't even fully embrace until like later seasons. It's very polished, I guess, is what we should say. So that's cool. But yeah, this is a fun one. I'm excited to keep following it. Um, I'm just glad to be back in the world of My Hero Academia. I think this show proves that it's not just the characters that Horikoshi created; it's the world that's so endearing to a lot of people. Like, I know Deku as a character and Shoto, right, are like two characters that stick out for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But this verse is just so full and lively, where it's like, yeah, I'm in. These are three new people that we've met. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm sold. I want to follow them. Let's keep
and
going.
it's also perfect. We joked about how Mappa wanted to milk Attack on Titan and probably want to milk Jujutsu Kaisen to all it's worth.
Oh, we're gonna get that Gojo prequel. You already know.
I mean, we kind of already have. If
we're
really
doing it again, damn it!
I mean, with a certain chapter that came out earlier last year, or was it this year? They could make an anime original sequel if you really think about it, but that's for another episode. But
we've talked the Jujutsu Kaisen manga beginning to end roughly. If you guys want to check that out, we have the last episode here on the channel as well. Yeah. So trust me, we haven't. I'm never happy with Jujutsu Kaisen. That's my hot take.
I was just saying you were not happy that I managed to get you on board on that episode, but I digress.
You know, mistakes were made, but we carry on because that's what heroes do.
I agree. That's also without spoiling the manga.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for this season? Is there anything anime originals stuff that you might, or is it change in art style, or?
Well, they've already made a couple. They've already made a couple changes. My big one was the scene at the end of this first episode. Right, we see Pop Step and Koichi kind of like get jumped by these bullies at the end of that episode, or midway through that episode. And let's just say it's way more graphic in the manga. So I'm glad they spared all of us that scene. So we're already off to a good start. They already changed Pop Step's costume a little bit. It's still, thank God, right? Yeah. It's still a lot, but they made it a little bit more modest. So like we're on the right track, I think, to where they're making conscious choices to make this the best version of My Hero Vigilantes and a perfect companion piece to My Hero Academia. Things that I want going forward, I'm just excited to see this world again, to see familiar faces pop back up again, because again, we're not that far away from them. I keep saying that, but like the fact that My Hero Academia takes place in like a year and a half, 3 years earlier is an eternity in My Hero Academia time. But still,
which is just funny how it feels much longer than just that.
Well, it was a decade of our lives. I know that much. That's so weird to say, but it was. But no, yeah, like seeing familiar faces return, seeing like more characters get background. Like we have Eraserhead at the end of this episode here, and he has a very important arc in this comic book. I'm not gonna say he's a main character, but he does get an arc here. So like him being one of my favorite characters from My Hero Academia, I'm excited to see that get adapted and see that play out and hear the voice cast like really embrace that, because hearing All Might's voice again in his muscle form, that just brought me joy. It's the moments like that where it's like, I love this world. I love these characters. So just keep doing what you're doing, honestly, and make the unnecessary tweaks here and there, because There are moments when things get a little weird in this book, but I'm excited for Wolverine and Cyclops.
Bees. Bees.
Oh, are they gonna fix that, or are they gonna leave that as is, Isaac? I forgot about
I don't
the
know.
freaking bees.
And no, we're not gonna give you any context.
We have content. We covered the manga. It's here. Go watch that.
Yeah.
But no, the bees.
Yeah.
Gosh, we're gonna come back and talk about the bees in like 4 weeks. Okay.
I was just thinking when you said, think about it when you said changing up stuff and all that. Yes, and how we
that has to stay the
were
same.
all.
No, that got to stay the same. Everybody needs to experience the bees.
Not the bees! Not the bees!
Not the bees.
Sorry.
Any other thoughts on Boku no Hero Academia illegals?
As far as I can recall, no, I don't have more than I'm looking forward to the rest of the anime.
Yeah. Just from a production standpoint, this was fun. I thought the action was well paced. I thought the animation was phenomenal. I think the representation of Koichi's quirk was really cool, right? Because Slide and Go is, in theory, a cool quirk, and then you realize he needs to have 3 points of contact, and he barely goes faster than a bike. I just love how we kind of play with like, oh yeah, his power's lame, but also in a pinch, it could be really helpful. And we have that moment of his body moves without thinking, right? An homage to episode 1 of My Hero Academia, where he jumps in to save Pop Step the same way Deku jumps in to save Bakugo, giving way to, All Might and Knuckle Duster landing in that final smash to save the day. I love how the end kind of like parallels MHA a little bit that way, because anyone can become a hero. And that's kind of the theme that we play all around here with Vigilantes.
Nice. But yeah, Mike, with that said, where can people find you?
You can find me at Novice Cinephile on Blue Sky, YouTube, TikTok, The Novice Cinephile on Instagram and Threads. I'm also on the Chatter After podcast and the Beyond the Clickers podcast. We're talking The Last of Us every single Monday.
They are finally back.
We're finally back some way, somehow. We've got to get through The Last of Us Part 2. We already have an episode on that. Check out the Chatter After in your podcast feed and on YouTube. And I'll be here talking My Hero Academia and Naruto and Netflix One Piece in the coming months over this year with Isaac and the crew on the Amateur Otaku podcast.
Cannot wait.
Believe it! It's going to be Naruto casting this year, most likely. I'm just putting that out there.
Oh, then we need to cover and discuss.
I'm just reminding everybody that's a thing that's in development, and it's gonna be casting soon.
And Adi Shankar is producing that one.
There's also the My Hero live action on Netflix. That's probably gonna start after season 8 ends. So we'll come back and talk about that too.
Yeah, but they have hope for the My Hero stuff, since, well, from what I can gather of Yu Yu Hakusho fans, they did the Yu Yu Hakusho adaptation pretty decent, and they did. We all know how good they did with the One Piece one.
But we also have Death Note and Cowboy Bebop, so who knows? With that said, make sure you guys like, subscribe, so you don't miss a diggy dang thing. Isaac, thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure talking MHA, anime, all the fun stuff here with you.
Yeah, and you can find me here on Twitch playing through Engage and Battle Wonderworld as of right now, and well, here in the Amateur Talk pod. So, with that said, it was a blast having you on, Mike.
Thank you, sir.
This more.
For sure. We'll definitely try and do this a little bit more. If you guys want us to talk more My Hero Academia Vigilantes, let us know. We can also get some of the folks from the Assembled podcast on here. That's a podcast where we talk comic books comic book movies, comic book shows. This might fit that entire aesthetic, so we can get them in here once in a while too to talk MHA. Let us know in the comments.
Yes, we need to. Yes, we need to. That being said, y'all, have it awesome.
Go beyond. Plus
Plus
Ultra.
Ultra.